This is how Swede speaks.
Those of you who watched my most recent video know that I have left Stop Islamization of Norway, abbreviated SIAN. I left because the organization has opened up for Nazis and racists, in spite of them denying it publicly. What's going on with Stop Islamization of Norway, SIAN, and how did this happen? That's what we will address in this video. Before we get started, I want to thank all of my financial supporters. Without you, this channel would not be possible. I also want to ask you to check out my website at swedespeaks.com and to follow me on BitChute. There are links in the box below, and you know, better safe than sorry, so make sure to follow me there. I mean it, it's really important. Also, check out the Swede Travels on YouTube. The first 4 points for using SIAN's Facebook group says the following. 1. The purpose of the Facebook group is to inform about the organization Stop Islamization of Norway, SIAN. 2. SIAN doesn't necessarily share the viewpoints or opinions that members of the group set forth. 3. Anyone is welcome to discuss and express their opinions. SIAN, however, reserves the right to remove posts that are deemed to be racist, derogatory, or in some other way improper. 4. SIAN cannot control whether there are people with extreme viewpoints in the group. We will, however, try to exclude such persons when it is possible. We strongly reject all extreme political ideologies, including Islamism, Nazism, fascism and communism. So, SIAN rejects, among other ideologies, Nazism, and posts deemed to be racist can be removed from the Facebook group. Sounds good, right? Also, Clause 4a of the Statutes of Stop Islamization of Norway says the following, and I quote, "Anyone who observes the statutes of the association and legal resolutions by the governing bodies can become a member. SIAN is a non-violent organization. No Nazis or racists can become members." Unquote. So, still good. So here's the issue we're dealing with. Are these policies and statutes followed by SIAN? And if not, when did this happen? Recently, Daniel Hagen posted clearly anti-Semitic posts on SIAN's Facebook group in discussion with Sten Olsen, who defended Jewish people in Israel. In response to a post by Olsen, Hagen wrote, and I quote, "No, you're a moron and I'm at war with you. You don't understand a damn thing of what I'm writing. As an utmost consequence, people like you must be removed. That is the only way to get Norwegians to get their thumbs out of their ASSES. Norwegian supporters of Israel who love to label others Nazis is a big obstacle to stop Islamization of Norway because you prevent the stopping of mass immigration to Norway on a general basis. You have a joint responsibility in that it's not possible to stop immigration, including Muslims, that ultimately Israelis or Jews are behind. As long as Jews cannot be criticized, the Islamization of Western countries cannot be stopped." Unquote. Then Hagen added, and I quote again, "Supporters of Israel are joint responsible for the Islamization of Europe, the United States, Canada, Australia, and so on, Western countries. As long as you cannot criticize Jews, it will never be possible to stop immigration." Unquote. So this Daniel Hagen was clearly spreading anti-Semitism, and he also told Sten Olsen that he needs to be removed. He wrote this in SIAN's Facebook group. Hagen also wrote in a post, and I quote, "Israel and Jews should be nuked." Unquote. Remember the rules for SIAN's Facebook group? Anyone is welcome to discuss and express their opinions. SIAN, however, reserves the right to remove posts that are deemed to be racist, derogatory, or in some other way improper. Daniel Hagen's comments were not removed. Then, Sten Olsen started a thread about SIAN allowing Nazis to comment in the Facebook group. Do you know what happened to Sten Olsen's thread? It was removed. When I realized that the thread was removed, I started a thread the next day, March 28th, 2020, asking a very simple question. And I quote, "Does SIAN have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism, hatred of Jews, and real racism or not? I want to know that before I pay this year's fee." Unquote. The responses to my question were interesting, to say the least. Let's look at some of the responses. I tagged Daniel Hagen because he had been promoting anti-Semitic ideas. Hagen was not amused by me tagging him. Initially he wrote the same response to several of the posts in the thread. Daniel Hagen wrote, and I quote, "Sten Olsen is the one who attacked me. I just responded. I may be one of the most Norwegian people in the country, and I resent being called a Nazi. I take that as a serious accusation. The post that you have made is defamatory, so removing it would be preferable. That I criticize Israel will, sadly for you, never be Nazism. I wonder when you will understand that those people are behind mass immigration. This is 100% provable without any doubt. Check the Hart Collar Act from 1965 in the United States. It was the start of mass immigration to the West." Unquote. And by those people, Hagen was obviously referring to Jewish people. In a direct response to me, Hagen wrote the following, quote, "You hold me responsible for Sten Olsen attacking me. Do you have brain damage?" Unquote. Well, Mr. Hagen, Sten Olsen called you out on your anti-Semitism. Your response was to threaten him, and if you spread anti-Semitism, it's not very far-fetched to call you a Nazi. In another post in the thread, Hagen wrote, and I quote, "Zionists in the United States, they were strongly involved in the civil rights movement for black Americans. They cooperated in lighting the flames for African American anger at whites. And a little later they were behind the Hart Collar Act, which was signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson and stopped the previous immigration policies of the United States, policies that mainly focused on Northern Europeans. After that there were mass immigration of all kinds of people to the United States, and after that, among other things, the extreme increase of Latin American immigration that we have seen. This also strongly influenced Europe, which has been strongly influenced by the United States in the entire post-war era. In other words, they are behind mass immigration to our previously European populated countries." Unquote. I responded to him, and I quote, "The civil rights movement was essential, at least in the southern states in the United States. I know your type. Talks about Zionists means Jewish people. And what does the leadership of SIAN say about this?" Unquote. And it evolved into a long thread. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I have pictures of it. One of the moderators, Ron Larsson, a Norwegian living in the United States, sent me a message, and I quote, "To start a thread about an old thread that was deleted. Then you call a person in the group a Nazi, which is not okay. You are muted for 7 hours. Use that time to reconsider." Unquote. Yes, Ron Larsson, I call a Jew hater who are spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories a Nazi. I stand by it. Daniel Hagen is a Nazi, and his comments were not removed, although they were against the rules for SIAN's Facebook group. It's not that complicated, is it? On April 4th, I sent an email to Lars Thorsen, chairman of Stop Islamization of Norway. Among other things, I wrote, and I quote, "Hi, referring to that SIAN nowadays, after the soft fraction has left the board, is accepting National Socialists, Nazis as members, and referring to that you personally apparently asked Sten Olsen whether he converted to Islam, I am hereby leaving SIAN immediately." Unquote. Because Lars Thorsen did ask Sten Olsen, one of the critics, on Sten Olsen's Facebook page when he converted to Islam. He also called me a communist, by the way. But anyway, according to my sources, Lars Thorsen and Anna Bråten, chairman and vice chairman of SIAN respectively, were referring to Max Hermansen and Stig Andersen as the soft fraction of SIAN. They were previously in the leadership of SIAN, but they left the board in 2018. And after that, this happened. I blame Lars Thorsen and I blame Anna Bråten, among other people, for this. This is why I cannot support SIAN anymore. On April 5th, I uploaded a video about leaving SIAN. Just a short comment in which I shortly explained my reasons and that I would make a longer video to explain it more thoroughly. This video. Among the comments to my video about leaving SIAN, I found this one by Lena Andreasen, here calling herself Marie Andreasen. Quote, "I see that a Swede Speaks posted a crap video on YouTube about how horrible we are. He should learn English, by the way." Unquote. Okay, Lena, let me remind you about your comment to my most recent video. And I quote directly, "You was kicked out." Unquote. So, apart from being factually incorrect, as I left before SIAN got a chance to kick me out, you also don't know the difference between was and were. So perhaps you should study English. I have looked at SIAN's Facebook group, and I observed that on April 2nd, one of the members in SIAN's Facebook group published an ad from the company Nordensteel. The ad was for a t-shirt saying, "This is Europe, no place for Islam." Fine, right? I agree. There should be no place for Islam in Europe, or in Asia, or in Africa, or in Oceania, or in the Americas. However, should SIAN really want ads from Nordensteel in their Facebook group? on their own website, Norden still sells this t-shirt, a t-shirt that says, "I'm not perfect, but I am National Socialist," and that's kind of the same thing. Maybe not the best company to have ads from, especially not if you say that your organization is opposed to anti-Semitism and National Socialism. Or what do you think? The ad has been there since April 2nd, it was still there when I checked on April 13th. But maybe we shouldn't be surprised when SIAN activists, including Lena Andreasen, calling herself Maria Andreasen on Facebook, one of the moderators of SIAN's Facebook group, in SIAN's internal group chat writes that she wants a t-shirt from Norden Steel. Activist Ellen Due Brynjolfsen writes that she will order 2 t-shirts. In the internal chat, Lena Andreasen, Marie, wrote, and I quote, "Yes, I can send it to Ronny, I want one," unquote. So what she's talking about is to ask Ronny Bårdsen, owner of Norden Steel, the clothing company that among other things sells that t-shirt about being a National Socialist, to make a specific t-shirt. So, sorry SIAN, but after Max Hermansen and Stig Andersen left the board, you have turned into a Nazi and racist circus that I don't want to be a part of. And by the way, I have more material on SIAN, on the leadership, on activists, so I may not be done yet. I may have to make at least one more video about this. But I want to mention that a black member of SIAN's Facebook group got a message from Ron Larsson, another one of the moderators, saying that people of color are accepted in SIAN after she reacted to anti-Semitic and racist comments in the Facebook group. I have pictures of that too, of course. And also, to Sten Olsen from Bergen, thank you. The anti-Islamic activists in Bergen were the ones who reacted to this new line from the leadership of SIAN. And among those activists in Bergen, there were Jewish people who protected SIAN against violent troublemakers. As I said, I have more material, and I may have to produce at least one more video about this. But I need to mention that critics of this within Stop Islamization of Norway, including people who are members of the organization and who have spoken at SIAN rallies, people like Vidar Haugen from Hamar in Norway, have been kicked out of the Facebook group. And that's what I have to say about this. So what do you think? Comment below, and if you like this video, I really appreciate any donations. Even $1 makes a difference. If everyone who watched my videos donated $1, it would transform this channel. But if you really can't financially support this channel, I would be very grateful if you would share a link to one of your favorite videos from this channel on your social media, because ad revenue also helps. And it also helps against YouTube's deranking of this channel. Also, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Most importantly, please pray for this channel. I'm working on getting back to live streaming, but bear with me for a while. And until next time, have a nice day, thank you for watching, and God bless.